Hello, class. I am your instructor, Pierre Ariano, and I'm just making a video for an introduction to this class, to English 102. It is good to meet you. I am an actual person. It'll feel a little weird, when you go throughout the quarter, um, and you won't actually see anybody because this class is wholly online. There is no class meetings. We will just be working throughout the quarter, week by week, th with your work. So it's good to see somebody, and at least in these videos. And so you'll hear my voice in lectures and videos like this explaining the course. So let's get into it because this is going to be a little longer one. We have a lot to go over when it comes to this course. So let me share my screen here and let us get into it proper. I'm going to mute myself video wise because I find it a distraction sometimes to have that up in the corner. But let's get into our course proper. So this is English 102, as I mentioned. I am your instructor, Pierre Ariano. The best way to meet with me will be through email. This right here you'll see is the home page of our class. Every week it'll change depending on what week we are. This will be the first week, so you'll see this. I'm not going over this. It just goes a quick explanation of the course and how it's all online. What I want to do in this video is actually go over the syllabus, which you'll have here. So yeah, like I said, English 102 is our course. I do have an office, but this won't really matter for an online course like this. I do have office hours, but the ones that are going to retain to you will depend on which ones are for Zoom only. Heads up, this information might change depending on what quarter you're taking. Don't use this information. Just look at the actual course syllabus in our quarter. For instance, this quarter, sure, I have Tuesdays and Thursdays 1 to 2:30 through Zoom. That could change depending, of course, any given quarter. So just look at that carefully. I'll always have Zoom hours for online, but a good way to meet with me online, of course, is just sending me an email. And then if you really want to meet through Zoom, just we can set up a time after that. Anyways, let's get into it. So, course description English 102 has been designed to further develop the skills of college level academic reading, critical thinking, writing, and research. In English 102, you will build upon the skills introduced in English 101. In addition, you will have the opportunity to practice further elements of academic work, such as research, library skills, and project design management. Further, the readings with which you will work in English 102 will further practice skills of academic reading using long, complex texts. So basically, it's a continuation of English 101, which everybody who is in this course should have already been able to take and pass with sufficient grade. Specifically, we're going to be looking at academic writing when it comes to making a research paper. Course outcomes. We have 5 course outcomes, so goals that we want to meet in this class. The first one is utilize an inquiry-based process to generate topics and questions for the development of research projects. Basically, figure out what your research question is going to be, and then find if your topic is worthy of research. 2, apply a process-based approach to the planning and drafting a major research-based argumentative paper, including revision and peer review. So, planning out your paper, making an outline, after writing the paper, revising that paper, getting peer reviews, peers to look at your paper and giving feedback yourself. 3, develop reading and evaluation strategies for tertiary, secondary, and primary sources. It may include peer-reviewed articles, books, literatures, news, and contemporary reports, etc. So the idea being that you're going to find different types of sources and what those sources mean and how they can be legitimate sources that are credible to be able to support whatever argument you're going to make in your research paper. 4, organize and manage sources throughout the research process. A big part is how to not just analyze your sources, but being able to bring them throughout and weave them throughout your paper and be able to explain them in your writing. And 5, synthesize and attribute sources appropriately in a major research-based argumentative paper. So our big major thing in this course, like I said, is research writing. And the idea is to connect sources with one another to make that argument that you're making just supported as strongly as possible, but throughout multiple connections. So these are the goals. And as you can see, these are all tied to making a research paper. This is what this class is about, and this is what we'll be looking at. So course materials, the only thing you're going to be needing to buy is the Bedford Researcher, and it's not actually the 7th edition. Let me just change that, otherwise I'll completely forget. It's the 8th edition. That's the newest one, the latest and greatest, I suppose. you need to get the Bedford Researcher 8th edition. I have the links up here on Amazon. It looks like this. This is the cover. Of course, you can get it. This is the OC Olympic College bookstore. Get it however you want. Um, buy it, rent it, buy it digitally, buy it used, whatever. However you can get it, wherever the cheapest option. I totally understand. Just this is what, but you are going to need this book. Starting probably week 2 or 3, we're going to be reading this book. And it's of course I'll go into more detail once we get into the actual reading of it, but it's basically all about research writing, and that's what we are going to be working on in this class. So yeah, that's the only book. The other thing you'll need is access to Microsoft Word to submit your papers. You have free access through the Office 365 link over here on the left. You click on that, it'll take you to Office 365 here. This link here, you click on that. You'll sign in with the account, same sign-in credentials as you see here. These are mine to sign in for this. Okay, fine. Let's see if I can give me a second here for it to text me this code, this one-time code here. 26593 0. Don't copy this code. It's a good thing it's a one-time code. Yes, please stay sign in. So anyways, it'll take you to here, right? And then from here, you'll be able to install Microsoft Office and any of your computers that you have. I think you can do up to 4. Whatever the case, you just click on this link and install Microsoft 365 apps. Perfect. And there you go. Everybody should have Word, all right? And plus, you can get Excel, PowerPoint, maybe for your other classes that you might need that kind of stuff. So that is how you get Word. In addition to that, you will need access to Google Docs. So you're going to have a Google um, account, which I think most people have, but you will need access to Google Docs as you will be drafting your papers in a Google Doc, such as this, right? I'm sure some of you or most use it already, so no big deal. But if you haven't, you need to be able to do this. So 365, because you're gonna turn in your stuff through Office, through Word, I mean, not Office, but Word specifically. And then, of course, access to Google Docs as you'll be drafting your papers through Google Docs. But then when you're submitting it to Canvas, you will download this draft as a Word file, and then you submit it onto Canvas as a Word file. And like I said, you don't pay for any of this, of course. You already have access to this. Ignore that. So anyways, those are the 2 things to need. The only thing to buy, of course, like I said, Bedford Researcher, but Microsoft Word, and then of course, um, access to Google Docs. Writing assignments. So we'll have 4 major writing assignments. Honestly, I would say it's more like 4 projects. Um, on more than writing assignments because really there's only really 2 writing assignments. The first writing is kind of like the first assignment we're going to do is kind of like a not a test assignment, but let's say more of a kind of to break you into like get everybody warmed, like a warm-up assignment. Think of it that way, you know. It's just an argumentative paper, which I'll go into more detail in a separate video about it specifically. And then projects 2 and 3 are really tied together. Annotated bibliography and the proposal literature review is really just you doing the research for your research paper, and then basically explaining to me why you think this is something worth writing about. And then you actually write the research paper in project 3. And final portfolio is really putting all of these 3 projects together into one single big assignment, which again, I'll go into way more detail in that proper. If you've taken my English 101 class, you know exactly where this is headed. There'll also be 3 peer reviews, which will review each of these 3 projects. There'll be miscellaneous assignments throughout the quarter. And then there's extra credit up to 30 max, which I'll go into further out there. I use a 4.0 scaling system for Canvas, but more importantly, portfolio. My English 102 courses, and honestly, all my English classes are portfolio based. Your portfolio will consist of a cover letter and revised final drafts of each of your major projects in addition to each draft you composed. I'll be giving you feedback, of course, on all of your major writing projects. The 3 that I mentioned here, your Project 1, rhetorical argument, the annotated bib with the lit review and of the research paper. Once you've done that, You, of course, will submit this all into a large final portfolio, which is what we have here. But before that, you'll have a mini portfolio for each of these assignments. And if this is getting confusing, don't worry about it. Again, I'm going to go into way more detail into what this is specifically in another video. This is just kind of an brief, quick overview about this. But basically, a final portfolio will be needed to be submitted to pass this course. Is that's kind of like think of it as your final big project for this course, and that's what I kind of grade you on through before it comes to the final portfolio for the final kind of thing. But like I said, there'll be a mini portfolio. Kind of think of the mini portfolio kind of as a way to help you get used to what I'm going to ask for you in the final portfolio. So it'll consist of 4 items in addition to your paper. Well, 3 items in addition to your paper, so it'll be 4 total. So you'll have a reflection letter, just a brief one-page letter telling me about the paper and the process of writing it, including the skills you practice. Not a summary of the paper, but just a reflection of what you learned about writing this paper. 2 will be a peer comments, just a one-page brief summary of what your peers told you during the peer review. Um, and then a peer review draft, just the rough draft, just basically your first draft that you wrote for that you submitted for peer review. You just copy and paste that over. Then the revised draft. This is the draft that you will write based off the comments your peers gave you. And then this is so basically your second draft. And this is the draft that I will look at personally and give you feedback back for towards the end of the quarter. And you'll use that feedback for your final portfolio. Here's a description of your major assignments. I kind of already went over them. Like I said, I'll go into way more detail in each in a separate video. We will have, of course, peer review workshops. The important thing to note about peer reviews is that you will be giving substantial feedback for your peers. I don't want to see yes or no responses. Again, I'll go into way more detail in a separate video about peer review workshops, but that's just a quick, just like overview about that. Expectations and how we communicate. Before reading further, take a moment to read our professional email form handout. So please click on that link. I'm not going to go over that right here, but basically the idea is how we're going to communicate when it comes to student emails and preparing for how we will, connect with one another, I suppose. So I will communicate with you this quarter by email via Canvas inbox and on your assignment submissions by writing on rubrics, adding comments in the drafts, writing message or comment sections. I'll respond to your emails within 24 hours on weekdays and first thing on Monday morning if you email me after 4 p.m. on Friday. If I'm going to be off email more than 24 hours, I'll let you know. Return your assignments with grade and comments within 3 weeks, but often sooner. Monitor discussion forums post regularly. Be available to talk over Zoom at times that are convenient for you. Shoot me an email to schedule. You'll find that I am very flexible when it comes to meeting times. To communicate with each other with me in emails, please check the class in your email at least once every weekday to catch any updates. Use friendly professional tone. That means you don't have to be super formal, but you don't need to be professional. But you do need to be professional. I'm sorry. You can write in somewhat conversational manner, but should avoid overusing text language that you wouldn't use in a professional setting. Practice your best grammar, punctuation, and spelling in all course communication, including email. For example, capitalize I's, make sure to write in paragraphs, new topic equals a new paragraph, and check your spelling. Think before you email or post about whether the topic should be a private email or a public discussion board. Most questions about assignments should be in a public forum so that all the students benefit as they would in a classroom. Questions about your grade or progress should be emailed. Avoid using all capital letters when writing on a discussion board. This feels like angry shouting. Try italics if you need to emphasize a point or, bold something. About civility and mutual respect, in other words, the decorum of the online class. The classroom online Thoed B should be a safe place where all students can participate and give their thoughts freely. It is my hope that you have felt my genuine interest in reading your ideas in response to the assignments. However, discussions must be held with respect towards one another. I don't care what your personal beliefs or political alignments may be. We must all treat each other with courtesy, even if we don't fully agree on an issue. I have not and would never deduct points from a response that shows disagreement with the text we are reading. However, if a discussion, post, or peer review has anything disrespectful or seems like harassment towards a classmate, I will score that assignment as 0 and remove the post. The student will also be reported for inappropriate conduct via the OC reported system. If the behavior continues beyond this point, the student may be in jeopardy of being asked to leave the class. Late work and missing assignments. So late work or missed assignments are due by 11:59 of the due date, or any assignment, honestly, is due by whatever date before midnight. The following parameters establish the course's late work policy. No late assignment will be accepted for full credit for any reason, including technical and computer programs. Each day an assignment is submitted late will result in an automatic 10% reduction in the assignment's grade. After 10 days, the assignment will, of course, be worth zero. Important, Canvas, a computer system, will be the mechanism automatically controlling any percentages deductions for late work. Because it is a computer system, it cannot distinguish between 1 minute late, 1 hour late, and 1 day late. Be sure to give yourself plenty of time to get your work in before 11:59 p.m. on any given due date. Work submitted on time must be the priority when grading occurs. Work submitted late will be graded as time permits. So I don't have any of my assignments you can submit late, however you want, right? However, every day it is turned late, it is deducted 10%. So if it's turned in 2 days late, it'll be 20, 3 days, 30, and so on and so forth, right? To the point where after 10 days, it's really not worth turning in because you're not going to get any points. So that is to say, don't turn in your assignment late. Sometimes it happens. Oh well. If it's a day late, it's not that big a deal. It was what a 10-point assignment. You'll lose 2 points still, right? You're still getting the majority of the paper. You don't need to email me to give excuses as to why it's late. It doesn't matter to me why it's late. Just submit it whenever, as soon as you can. But please keep in mind whatever due dates are there. There are always going to be due dates, easily seen after every assignment. And I'll show you in this video real briefly. Extra credit. Extra credit is available. You can earn extra credit points by using the e-tutoring link, which is right over here. You just click on a link, and it won't take me anywhere because I can't go any further than this. Oh, I can. Well, that's awesome. This is the first time I've been able to do that. Usually, it's just like it had me as an instructor, and it says, "Oh, you can't because you're an instructor." Well, great. Now I can actually show you. That's awesome. So you'll have this exactly, and you'll have your name right here. This is awesome. Sorry, I'm so excited because I've never been able to see this because it's just blocked me because I'm an instructor, not a student. But this is great. So yeah, you just submit your paper here, I suppose, and then yeah, you go here and then you submit your assignment, and it's that easy. And I guess it's closed right now because it's not time quite for this to be open. But yeah, you'll just click on this link. You just upload the whatever paper you want, and then that's it. That's it. That's all you got to do. And a day, maybe two later, you'll receive your paper back with comments, kind of similar to how I give you comments. And you just show me those comments. You can just attach that whole paper as a attachment as an email and just send it to me and then say, hey, I did this for this paper and I'll give you 5 points extra credit. You can do this for each of the major assignments. So we have 3 projects and then that'll be 15 points. But you can only do it one for each assignment, and that's it. What else? Yes, you can upload a picture of yourself. This helps me remember names and gets me to see, but make sure it's a clear picture of your face, not your dog or a cartoon character. And if you do that, I'll give you 5 points. Lastly, you can earn extra credit if you want to do additional peer reviews. So you'll have assigned peer reviews, but you'll be able to earn extra 10 points if you want to do more. I'll give you 2 more papers randomly, and then you just peer review them just like you did in the actual assignment, and then you'll get 10 points, 5 for each of them. The last thing you can do that I have is if you find any typos or errors in my PowerPoints or anything like that, or maybe in the syllabus itself, let me know. I'll give you 5 points for every error you find. And that'll be a great way to earn extra credit. So the total you can earn, though, no matter what, is 30. And that's the max. After that, you won't earn any more extra credits. So once you get 30 points, that's it. Um, the other thing to say is if you do not complete any major assignments or if you're disruptive in the class, by that I mean like maybe just really just disruptive in the boards, I guess when it comes to online setting, you will lose the ability to earn extra credit. And if you have already, I'll just remove it. Academic integrity. Okay, this is going to be important as you know we have a new thing, AI. So that's something that this is why we're going to be using Google Docs. So let's go over this. Note, my decisions regarding academic dishonesty are based on the available evidence and professional judgment. I will contact a student if I suspect academic dishonesty, and students are encouraged to contact me if they have questions or concerns about the policy of their work. Plagiarism, cheating, and unauthorized AI use. Plagiarism, from the Latin word kidnapper, is the act of presenting someone else's words, ideas, data, or images as your own without proper attribution. Cheating includes any dishonest behavior intended to gain an unfair academic advantage, such as unauthorized use of AI in completing assignments, sorry, not compelling, completing. I have deeply held belief, based on experience and on research in the field of composition, that writing is an act of discovery. What does this mean? Because writing helps us refine our ideas. We often learn what we want to say while writing, not before. This means that writing is not just a way to communicate, it's a way we grow as thinkers and as people. I share this with you so that you understand why I believe it is so important that you do not cheat yourself out of personal growth by taking the words of others or by using AI to write your essays. We will talk about AI in this class, and I may authorize you to use some specific assignments, but otherwise, it is not allowed. You are too new to the process of building your writing and critical thinking to offload them through the use of AI tools. With all that in mind, here are the consequences for the acts of academic dishonesty in this class. Any work containing acts of academic dishonesty may be subject, at instructor's discretion, to the following: intentional plagiarism, cheating, and/or suspected AI use will result in a grade of 0 in this assignment. Intentional plagiarism, cheating, or suspected AI use will be reported to administration via OC reported system. If I believe the error is unintentional plagiarism, the student may be asked to revise for partial credit. If I suspect AI use but wish for further verification, oh, there's a typo already. I got to get rid of. This one doesn't count. I'll actually make sure to remove that. The student may be asked to complete the assignment in a proctored environment. Two instances of plagiarism, cheating, and/or suspected AI will result in a failing 0 grade for the whole course. If there is AI use in the final draft of your research paper, you will automatically fail the class. This paper is the greatest indicator of the student achievement of the English 102 outcomes for this course. If you use AI to cheat in this paper, then that is a clear indicator that you failed to meet the course outcomes. All the following are considered acts of academic dishonesty under this policy: turning in someone else's work as your own, turning in an essay you wrote for a previous course. This is called self-plagiarism. Copying words or ideas from someone else's without giving credit, failing to put quotation or quotation marks, giving incorrect information about the source of a quotation, changing a few words but copying the sentence structure in some words of a source without giving credit, using fabricated sources, using an AI language model to generate any portion of your work unless our assignment instructions explicitly allow for this. Unintentional plagiarism refers to common errors in citation, paraphrasing, or quotation integration that suggest an attempt to give attribution and a lack of understanding rather than deliberate misconduct. Unintentional plagiarism isn't that big of a deal because you're learning how to cite or continuing to learn how to cite from your English 101 course. Um, so that's understandable if you have something like that when it comes to your rough and revised drafts. But in your final draft, that is something you need to make sure is avoided. Detection and prevention. All required writing assignments should be completed in Google Docs so that I can view the version history. Additionally, please keep annotated copies of any sources used in writing of your assignments. I may ask you to show your work by submitting screenshots of source material paraphrased in your essays. Failure to provide the version history or sources screenshots may result in a 0 on the assignment. So this is the reason I'm going to have you use Google Docs. Google Docs has a built-in system where anytime you say you had a draft of a paper, you just started writing, and you making edits and changes, it keeps each of a history of that, all of that. And so if you revise your rough draft from or I'm sorry, your rough draft from your second draft, I should be able to see all of the different changes you made. Think of it like in math, where sure you can come up with an answer, but you have to show, your work of like, well, how did you get to this answer? Same thing here. Because of AI, I have to be able to know that what you write is coming from you. And it's, this is kind of a new thing for all of us. And so this is the best method I can come up with to make sure that it is genuine, that this paper is coming from you, the student, and not some other kind of AI algorithm or whatever that you just copy and paste it over. So if I can't see your work, I cannot accept that paper because it's something that just is not clearly showing that you're doing this. And this is why Google Docs is something that you're going to be using, and then you're going to be sharing that link to me so that I can quickly and easily see what you have done. And then once you've turned it into me, I have no issue with the paper itself. And this prevents a lot of headaches down the line with suspicions of some students using AIs and whatever the case happens, because it's just what it is these days. It's happening more often. It is becoming very prevalent, and as AI gets better and easier and more, well, just simple to use. Like it's almost like a temptation to use, right? It's just becoming a really big problem when it comes to academia. So this is what the solution we're going to use. So if you don't have a Google Doc of your paper, I'm not going to accept it. You have to make sure to write your paper in a Google Doc, and you have to be able to share it with me and provide the history of it. Assignments are also submitted to textual similarity review in Canvas using Turnitin. Turnitin provides a report on originality of your writing by comparing it to extensive database of online materials. This helps ensure that you're using sources fairly, citing properly, and paraphrasing effectively. Skills essential to all academic endeavors. So think of it, the Turnitin system as something Canvas does. Just checks your sources, checks that you're not plagiarizing other sources specifically or other papers, while the Google Docs is there to make sure you're just not taking an algorithm straight from an AI, or not an algorithm, but like just making a paper straight from AI and just using that. Policy on writing papers in Google Docs. Like I said, in all my English classes, all formal writing assignments, including essays, drafts, and revisions, must be completed and submitted using Google Docs. This policy is in place to ensure that your work is original. Purpose in the policy of originality. Writing in Google Docs allows me to verify that your work is your own. The version history feature tracks all edits and revisions, ensuring transparency in the writing process. Just write all your papers in Google Docs, then everything will be fine. You shouldn't have any kind of issues. I will periodically check your drafts and revisions to assess your progress and ensure that your papers are original. Keeping all drafts in the same document ensures that I can see how your paper evolves over time. So yes, when you start writing a paper, say our first paper, the rough draft of the first paper, right, the argument, you'll write it in a Google Doc straight. You'll title it whatever your name here, and then you'll start writing it here, and then you'll save your rough draft, you'll upload it to Canvas. After that, you'll get comments from your peers. And so you'll come back to this same document and then you'll revise it for your second draft. You won't make a new Google Doc, you'll just make the changes, the edits in this draft. And this will be the same thing for all of your assignments. And of course, once it comes to the final draft of this paper, you will make edits to that second draft here. So I could see that through the whole history throughout the whole quarter. And all three assignments should be the same. And I'll be able to see everything you've changed. All of the things that you may have added or you revised, whatever the case is. Maybe fixed some sources or fixed some grammar, whatever the case. So let's go back here. So this policy it helps prevent the use of AI tools or other unauthorized methods of completing assignments. Expectations about creating documents. All papers must be written in Google Docs. Each document should be titled with your name and assignment. So as you see here, Jane Doe, say I have this here, just like this. Project one draft. So you would put rough draft. And then when you'll change this title to revised draft. Then eventually it'll be draft. And that's what we'll have to do. And here are instructions on using Google Docs. I'll go over this in a separate video as this is already getting too long and I don't want to because there'll be assignment connected to how to starting up using Google Docs. But basically this is how to share in Google Docs, what you need to do, and then how to once you're finally ready to submit your document or your paper from Google Docs to Canvas, to how to download it as a Microsoft Word file and then do that and then just upload it to Canvas. Version history. Do not delete or overwrite previous drafts. Use the same Google Doc for all stages of the assignment so that I can view version history to see how your work has developed. Sharing settings. When sharing your document, ensure that your sharing settings are set to anyone with a link and set it to editor for all your writing assignments. Failure to provide access to your documents may result in a 0 for your paper, and 2 instances will result in a 0 for the course. There's no reason for you not to be able to just share this with me. This is going to be a requirement, and this is what we need to do for making sure your work is original. Academic integrity, excuse me. Submitting work that is not your own using AI tools violates academic integrity policies, will result in disciplinary action as outlined above. And writing in Google Docs helps ensure this is work is authentic. So why use Google Docs? Well, saves work automatically, accesses your documents from any device with internet access, and maintains a transparent record of your writing process. As I mentioned above, I reserve the right to request access to any of your Google Docs assignments at any time to verify progress and originality. Be sure to keep all your assignments organized and accessible within Google Docs throughout the course. By adhering to this policy, you will enhance your writing skills while maintaining accountability and academic integrity. If you have any questions or concerns about this policy, contact me. Here's my grading scale. I'm not going to go over that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Name preference. If you have a name preference, please let me know. This is how you can change your name on Canvas. Here's just our division office and who the dean is and program specialist and all that stuff in case you need that information. Here's our all of this rest of this stuff is stuff that's on all courses on OC or non-discrimination statement, authorized absences for faith, sexual misconduct, disability, all that stuff. So that's all the same. All right, that's all for this video. This was a large just introduction course syllabus. If you have any questions over this or anything that I covered, please let me know. Otherwise, that'll be it for this video. It's long enough. I'll see you in the next video. Uh, Thank you for joining me for this, and we'll call it good there. Bye.